KeithAndrewNetwork. You're watching the talk show hosts with a learning disability. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Today, we sit down with upcoming professional voiceover actor Luke Herbel. That's right, you heard it right. Luke Herbel will be on the Keith Andrew Network, and we're going to hear from him when we come back from this commercial break.
My name is Luke Herbel, and I have a few words of wisdom for some people. And remember, never give up. Never surrender. I want you to pick yourselves up, and I want you to embrace the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Keith Andrew, and welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. It is season 13. That's right, it is episode 13 of season 13. I'm your host, Keith Andrew, along here with Luke. He already introduced himself in the beginning of the video. So the first subject we're going to talk about is icebreakers. With that being said, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hello everybody. I am Luke Herbel, and great to be on the show with you, Keith. I really enjoyed that dragon behind you. It's very awesome. Reminds me of one of my very first roles where I played a dragon statue named Stony the Dragon in a cartoon called State of the Art. I really love dragons. So I would say my career started when I was just learning about the man of 1,000 voices, Mel Blanc. You know, being able to do that much talent. And also, Robin Williams was a friend of my acting teacher.
Oh, what can you tell us about that?
I can tell you that Robin Williams was a very nice guy, according to my acting teacher, John Seibert. And they went to the same college together, and they have the picture in the school hallway. And, when it comes to, like, we always think about Mrs. Doubtfire, you know, like, the key point for me was we watched Mrs. Doubtfire just for a few minutes, and already we see Daniel Hillard, Robin Williams, you know, and he's like, I'm gonna know, Figaro, you got the problem, I have the answer, you got a problem, and he's going on, and I'm like, Daniel, read the copy, just read it, you know. And it's like, wow, that looks very fun. And then I read about Mel Blanc and how he like, what is that? Oh, suffering succotash! What's wrong with all of you? A sidekick? I'm no sidekick. I'm Dick Dodgers. You know, I mean that's my impression, but yeah. So that's how it sort of started off, and then I was in. Little things, little piece by piece, you know, one step at a time.
All right. Well, let me ask you for our next subject. We're going to talk about the coronavirus. How has COVID impacted your life? And do you see your life and your career in a different point of view?
Well, I can say I've caught COVID maybe 2 or 3 times, and that impacted my health and my training and my ability to speak and do my job. But during that time, I was able to write a book, and I was able to record from home, and I still do. And I was able to work and have a schedule and be comfortable at home. But also, from a different point of view, in the word of Emperor Palpatine, you have to see things from the darker side. or from the lighter side, depending on which side of the Force. May the Force be with you, my friend. So I think in terms of the COVID pandemic, with the whole wearing of masks, it made it harder for me to breathe naturally than I would if without a mask. And then it was also a time where I had been working with a director named Deborah Liverman, and we performed the different little Zoom, like this is how we connected for animation or for animatics. You know what an animatic is, right?
No, what is it?
An animatic is something like an audio drama, but they add maybe a picture or two, just like to show you, hey, this is a character, and then this character is talking to another character. Kind of like a talking comic book. And so we were recording these three or four different productions. You can look them up, but I'm not sure where you'll find them. The Three Egos of Beverly. I started out working as an EMS worker for that production, but then gradually, because of the budget and the whole philosophy of show me the money, they were all saying like all the cast members were quitting because they learned that they were not getting paid to do the job, and one by one, I had to replace each actor. And I was promoted from EMS worker to the assistant director. Then all of a sudden, I'm playing all 10 parts. So I
Well,
had
let
to
me ask,
play.
let me ask you this. So, with everything that you accomplished in your career, because you are a voiceover actor, what attracted you to begin your acting career?
What attracted me to an acting career? Let's see. So acting. Now, are we talking about like Little Shop of Horrors? Are we talking about a play that I've seen or a
Well, what
movie?
inspired you to start your voiceover career?
Oh, well, I would say my fascination with the human voice, just how many sounds we can make, from the lowest parts to the highest parts to the wily parts to the also the sense of embodying the character, like when I embody this part of my brain, part of my head, I am death. I am death. Like Smaug, the dragon. But to for the question, I would say my acting journey began when I was I was learning about theater. We all learn about theater at one point or another. I was having a huge fascination, and I still do. I have a huge fascination with movies. I love watching movies. And whenever there's this really awesome musical score and there's the hero fighting the bad guy, like in Star Wars, and you listen to the lightsabers and you watch the Jedi fight the Sith and you watch the actors, it's like wow, you can get paid for that. And then learning about Adventures in Odyssey was also something I consider helpful. It's an audio drama of good Christian stories and good Christian episodes about adventures of children and people who need to explore their imagination.
All right. Well, the next one I want to talk to you about is what are some of your greatest achievements that you have accomplished?
Greatest achievements. Okay. Well, I would say my first achievement as an actor was when I was in. This was a very interesting story because I was learning English and like I was learning Japanese as well as English. So I was trying to make sure I could keep up with my teacher from Japan, and I got hired. Like I was applying for a role, and they said, "Hey, we're already cast, but we'll let you do it anyway. Say this line in Japanese, and then say this line in English." And like, all right. And then I just thought about The Last Samurai, and I just thought about what I was learning in school. And what I ended up doing was Nakamura-san. Naka, Naka, Naka. Did you steal all the money from Yamamoto-san? If not, that was Russian money. Russian money. And then, of course, in English, it's more like, you better be dead, asshole. I don't know if this is being on the radio, but yeah, this was a time where I had to be in my cubicle here, this office, and I had to perform like even snap of a finger last minute. So like they said, okay, we're already cast, but we'll let you audition. And it's like, oh, guess what? You got 2 parts. Yay! And I got a copy of the finished product, and we were entering it into a contest called the Sound of Stories contest, and we won 3rd place.
No, congratulations.
Yeah, and then of course my favorite after that was when I got to be Stony the Dragon from State of the Art, which is a very great cartoon. I can share it with you later if you like, but in that one it's like a 2-minute cartoon where I'm this beautiful ancient old dragon statue, and this new piece of art shows up in this New York museum. I'm looking at it, and it's this abstract piece that changes and changes, and I'm laughing at it because I think it looks ridiculous as this character, the dragon, and my dragon statue keeps destroying this piece of art, but the piece of art keeps rebuilding itself, and I just blow a fuse, and I just and I burn it, I burn it down, but then they still admire it. And then I'm like, oh, that's it, and I break myself. And then it goes from there. 3 Eagles of Beverly. I played 10 characters with the assistant director. I was the voiceover coach for people who are still interested. I went on to doing something called cat watching, which is again same people. Which is all about. That one was about 2 guys that were just looking at women and checking them out. Then I was in something called Humanoids versus Robots Fight Match, where I was singing in that one, and helping direct as well. And I was singing all about humanity and animosity, and I had to follow the director's orders, so I had to sing whatever she said, whatever she told me, because she was trying to go with a sort of Les Miserables, she was going like, so we were practicing look down, but then I'm like, I am the robot who feels oppressed. I'm the robot who feels oppressed. Something like that. And I was using that sort of that deeper range for a sort of. Apparently, the robots felt oppressed by humanity or something. Like, we are the dominant species. And then it just went from there. And then there were different things that I was in after that.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to come back with more hard-hitting questions. This is Keith Andrew, and welcome back from this quick commercial break. Tonight, it's Thursday night. You know what that means? If you're a fan of TNA Wrestling, it's available on all social medias, so make sure to go to TNAWrestling.com. We are on the road to May 10th. May 10th, it's this Saturday, and you get to see available on Peacock WWE Backlash. Tonight, John Cena will go one-on-one with Randy Orton. This is John Cena's farewell tour. He is a 17-time. He beat the Nature Boy Ric Flair's record, who was always known as the 16-time champion. We now have a 17-time World Heavyweight Champion, as in John Cena. And at the end of this year, he is officially retired. He's no longer being an active wrestler. So this Saturday, you get to see John Cena go one-on-one with Randy Orton. Also, Becky Lynch gets her chance to win her very first WWE Intercontinental Championship. All that will happen this Saturday on Peacock at Backlash. With that being said, the next subject I want to talk to you about is learning disabilities. With everything that you accomplished and gone through in your life, how have you shattered the glass ceiling?
Well, that's a very long story, because I'm You want to know this honest truth, everybody? I am disabled. I am deaf, and I am light sensitive, so I have to wear these special glasses. And I also have epilepsy, and I am the first survivor of a brain hemorrhage and a stroke, and to graduate with honors because doctors said I wouldn't be able to finish school, and yet I did. And so, with a disability to shatter the glass or to break through the fourth wall, if you want to call it that, I would say I owe it to my family and to my friends who encouraged me to get up off my feet, dust myself off, and just find something I enjoy and work with it. And so it went from, as a kid, it went from reading comic books to drawing comic books. It went from watching TV to listening to how they say things and learning from different people, like those who I had learned from, like watching TV, watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, just learning just like that uniqueness of the voice. It's like the meaning of the words are more important than how they are said. Just like one thing I was working on recently, just like to break that fourth wall, it's just like it to again, like just tell yourself, as an actor, I just find this comfort where I can perform and not like Heath Ledger, but that sort of embodying the character that I perform, or embodying the kind of archetype of a character like Mewtwo, like I see now. The circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. I see that it's what you do with the gift of life that defines who you are. Like that impression, but it's still fun to play with because it's like one of my characters that I recently was creating was Dr. Fist. I as a sketch artist, I was trying to combine Iron Fist with Doctor Strange from Marvel, and a little bit of Malcolm, and a little bit of Daredevil. I'm sure you know Daredevil, right? So it's like I created this character, like, yeah, oh yeah,
Alright,
oh.
so let me ask you how, with everything by your company, you are an inspiration for someone who has disabilities. For people who want to follow in your footsteps who have disabilities,
hmm
what are some of your words of wisdom?
Word of wisdom. Well, there's a lot of words of wisdom I could share, but it's like there are a lot of words I could say. Like for those who are disabled who want to learn voiceover, I would say there are classes at Edge Studios in New York City where you can actually learn voice acting for the blind. Or if you have hard of hearing, they can accommodate you. Or if they want to teach you in another language, they can do that. There's accommodations for everybody. Just like I'm also in the middle of teaching a master class with a very special guest speaker who I'm not allowed to say because of NDA agreement. Um, where we're teaching how to act in movies, TVs, video games, and how to act in cartoons or how to do voices. And I would say for those who are interested in this industry, if they're really sincere about this, first to think about characters that they enjoy and that they can impersonate, but then make a character up as you go. And then there's also a book called Zen and the Art of Voiceover by Dan Friedman. He is a voiceover coach. I've had him for at least one session or maybe two. He helped me build my home studio. And it's all about the art of voiceover and how you can take your voice and make it a superpower. Like, and so it's like your disability shouldn't stop you from doing what you enjoy. Like, my one of my mentors said, when you fall, get back up. It's like when you fall, don't let it get you down. Don't let what other people think get you down. Just do what you enjoy. Just live life. I've lived with that.
Well, let me ask you this. How has social media impacted your acting career, and have you gotten any opportunities from using these different platforms?
Well, okay, so since the COVID pandemic, I've been booking work through these social medias like Backstage.com, Casting Call Club. I I get a lot of stuff from Backstage.com. I've applied for a lot of things on Voices.com and Voice123. I've applied for a few things. But as far as like social media, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I would say I haven't booked anything in there, but it's still not a bad idea if they have a casting call and they say, "Hey, we want somebody who can do this kind of voice." And this reminds me of something that Steve Bloom said. I'm sure everybody can remember Steve Bloom from Toonami. Like he played a lot of characters. Amon from Legend of Korra. It is time to be equalized. Or it's like he says to take a risk because if you don't take a risk, you're gonna regret it. So it's like take the chance, and if you get the chance and you win, and you get that chance, you win. You work with it, you work through the fear, and it works out. And he had this little testimonial video on YouTube you can watch called "Just Take a Risk," and that's what he called the video.
No, absolutely. He's one of the greats. But let me ask you something because we both have disabilities. Donald Trump wants to demolish education. He wants to destroy public education and the education system. For as someone who has a disability, how do you feel that would impact other people?
Well, I don't know if Donald Trump is the one responsible for what you're talking about, but as far as taking away somebody's education, you mean? I would say if you take away somebody's education, how are they going to learn? Because I respectfully, I'll ask you, what disability do you have?
I'm pretty much like you, only I learn at a slower pace. But this show isn't about me, this is about you. But the
Ah,
thing is, there is going to be yet probably public school, no private, let me rephrase that. There will be no public schools, but there will be private schools to be private education. And he pretty much it's going to be privatized, and everything's going to be up in a monopoly. Honestly, everyone needs to go to public schools. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Spanish, or Asian. Doesn't matter if you're disabled or not. Everyone should get an education and learn to interact with each other and get along with each other. Now, tearing down the whole public education just because you want to play you have a monopoly and you want to turn things into a monopoly and make money off it, some things you just don't screw around with. And sometimes you should just leave things alone.
well, let me pick up where you left off with that. I can kind of see the message that you're conveying. Um, and as you can see, I have a slight speech impediment. Um, I was never denied education, and it had nothing to do with it had nothing to do with my skin tone. It had nothing to do with my race, my ethnicity. It's like it doesn't, because I am also part Hispanic. I can speak Spanish. I can speak different languages. Um, I got a little dyslexia a little bit when it comes to Japanese and Chinese because I it gets so confusing. But as far as the education system, I would say that we shouldn't deny anybody education at all. Like I went to private school and it was a very great experience for me, but I also went to public school, so I had to learn best of both worlds. I had to learn from both sides. What is it like in a private school? What's it like in a public school? And I would say you shouldn't take away somebody's education. In fact, are you familiar with Operation Graduation?
No, I'm not, but we can definitely talk about that off the air. But with that being said, it was the last 4 minutes. I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest in my talk show, What made you say yes, and how do you feel now?
What made me say yes to your talk show was just like, hey, it's nice to be noticed and talk to people. Because I spend a lot of my days in my cubicle recording audio files and piecing everything together like an engineer and a sound engineer. Um, and a lot of my friends haven't really been answering their phones lately, but it's nice to talk to people and it's nice to be noticed and, have good conversations.
No, absolutely. And after being a guest, how do you feel now, and would you recommend it to other people?
Would I recommend your talk show or would I recommend an education?
Would I recommend being on my show?
Sure, I wouldn't mind being on your show. The I try to be non-political when it comes to the talk shows, depending on if they're live. But when it comes to the education system, I'd say it's like, hey, everybody deserves an education. Everybody should be able to pay for an education, and everybody should get an education. Like, period. Everybody's entitled and has the right to an education. Just like even though I'm a white person, I can still be this characterized voice, and you can kind of hear this little runoff talking in my voice because I use RP at times. Because my S's and my TH's are a problem. I went to so many doctors and people, and they said, "Oh, your voice is just fine. You just have to adjust yourself." So I would say your show is very fun and entertaining. I can't wait to hear what it sounds like at the end. You can kind of hear some Uncle Kane in my voice now, eh? A little cockney there. You see, this is the fun part about being an actor. It's where I can change my voice into any range. And I can make myself sound muscular and powerful. I can make myself sound deeper like Darth Vader. Or I can just be myself. And I can be this honest person that says, the show must go on. Or it's like, simply put, the revolution has begun.
All right. Well, like I said, all the episodes are different, but the one thing I do want to stretch out is you don't have to, for anyone who's watching this for the very first time, you do not have to have disabilities to be on the show. Just the fact you're taking the time to be on the show. My show is an open format. It's a half hour, freedom of speech, self-expression. If you have a story or a statement that you like to share and make, that's what my show's about. Now, by you being on the show, yes, you're supporting a talk show host with a disability. So you're helping me, I'm helping you, and at the end, at the end of the day, you're making a new friend out of it. But with that being said, I have a couple questions for you off the air. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. This interview will be shared on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and all social medias. If you're watching, you're obligated to leave a comment, a question for me or a guest. Our guest is also obligated to share on all social medias. And the more views that we get, once we reach 500 and more views, we will definitely do a part two. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And until we meet again, I catch you later. Thank you.